Le Mans. We are now we're still 55 laps into the great race. Andre Lotterer leads for Audi as our timing screens are just all changing. Great weather here, huge crowd.
Well,
yeah, we're just having a few timing.
Well, we've had a few exciting things happen while we were swapping over. The number 25 car spun and rejoined.
Yeah, that car's had a slower first pit stop and now had another spin. John Martin still at the wheel of that car.
We also then have seen a Porsche come into pit lane. We weren't able to see which Porsche it was, but it looked like they had quite a significant puncture. The rear tire really flapping around as they came into pits, but it did look like they were coming in. So that's a good step forward. We will give you more information on that as soon as we have it. Had a few of you asking about some of the blue flashing lights that are on some of the Porsches primarily. That is mainly just for the teams to see the cars coming at night down pit lane. A lot of the cars will have special things like that just to help the teams recognize them. It is very difficult at night when you just see a set of headlights coming down. Most of the cars I've always driven have had something like that, and I don't think it's anything more special than that, I'm afraid. It's not a beacon for a UFO or anything like that. So sorry to disappoint anyone that thought it might be. Mark Cole throwing things around the room at the moment. You're out there, Mark.
I mean, we're only 2 hours into the race.
We're not very far in.
Let's reset at the front as we watch that great battle going on again in P2. It's still Andre Lotterer leading car number 1 by about 23 seconds over Alain Monish in car number 2. So the two Audi R18 e-tron Quattros first and second. Alex Wurz in car number 7 for Toyota in third place. Stefan Sarazen in the other Toyota in fourth place. And those two cars are about a minute behind the leading Audi.
And a lot of you telling us on Twitter, you must have a better view than we do in here in our very glary commentary box, that they are baseball caps on the circuit is the debris. I'm not sure if that's real, but a lot of you are telling us that, so it's entirely possible.
Yeah, it's quite breezy out there. It has been all week, hasn't it?
It is, and there's a lot of people there just looking over the edge, so that would certainly be something different.
Well, it could be hooligans, of course.
Well, of course it could be, yeah.
Yeah, we don't get soccer hooligans here. But well done England, by the way, last night. 3-2 against Sweden, so it's all looking quite good. It's actually of no interest to Liz, who doesn't follow English football. So.
Oh, really? No, sorry.
So Lotterer leads McNish and then Wurz. That sounds familiar, doesn't it? But Wurz, of course, is not in a Peugeot. He's in a Toyota this year, and so is Stefan Sarazen. So the 4 top drivers, 5 top drivers, Luc Duval as well, Jeremy. 5 top drivers were all battling it out here last year with Audi and Peugeot. Now it's Audi and Toyota, but so only the cars have changed, not the drivers. We're saying about Audi battling it out with 2 of last year's Peugeot drivers.
Yeah, yes, indeed. Yeah, the Peugeot, of course, closed down that operation. You know, just before the start of the season. In fact, the entire team, including all the drivers, they were at Sebring getting ready for another endurance test. So the rug was pulled very much from under their feet. But good to see that just about all of those factory drivers have found a ride somewhere else. And as you say, both Alex Wurz, he was part of the Toyota program in any case. Stefan Sarazen, he was planning on driving for Peugeot, but now he finds himself also in that Toyota team and doing a nice job too. Those two cars, they're running one just inside a minute, one just outside a minute behind the leaders. And Stefan Sarazen, there is the number 8 car that is making its 3rd pit stop of the day, and once again an 11-lap stint for car number 8.
Potentially the faster of the 2 Peugeots. That's the one that set the faster time, and we assumed this car would be the hare, but in fact it has been trailing the number 7 car all the time. Jeremy, while we're just looking at the screens, the times now, 3:30 seems to be around the mark at the moment. Andre Lotterer on the 5th lap of the race did run a 3:26, which was 3 seconds off pole, but I suppose the heat of the afternoon, the times are slowing down a little, aren't they? They'll come back to us in the evening.
Also, it was around about 6 they were sort of lapping the other traffic, so up until then they had some pretty clear track out there, and now there's constant traffic in all the way around the racetrack. So that they're doing sort of 28s, 29s, 30s, sometimes 33s and 34s, depending on where they catch the traffic.
Excellent to see the dome out again now. We did have transmission problems. It's running again.
Yeah, no, it's brilliant to see them back out again. They've had a few little glitches here and there, but this is probably going to be Pasquarello's last chance, their last remaining shot, because that other car, number 16 car, still permanently planted in the garage as we speak. We've got a question here from Scott Nicholson on Twitter for Jeremy Shaw to answer for us. He says, "Hi, can you tell me what the difference between the R18 Ultra and the R18 e-tron is, please?" I thought I'd throw that your way, Jeremy.
Yeah, we kind of covered that earlier on, I thought, but the e-tron Quattro, that is the one with the hybrid powertrain on that car, and that effectively uses the energy from the braking system on the front wheels. It stores it in a flywheel that is actually in what would be the passenger compartment next to the driver, and then that energy is converted back into electric power, and it drives then the front wheel. So the Quattro system, effectively, it's four-wheel drives on acceleration out of the corners, but whereas the R18 Ultra, that is just a standard car with a standard transmission. It's a diesel turbo, so it's pretty trick, but it doesn't have the hybrid system.
Well, that's
what's kind of interesting in the two hybrid systems, there's one on the Audi and one on the Toyota. The Toyota drives through the rear wheels and the Audi through the front wheels, and the Audi is only allowed to use its electric motors that drive those front wheels when it's going above 120 kilometers. And what's interesting is if you use a hybrid powertrain that drives through the rear wheels, you can use it at whatever speed you like.
Yeah, the reason for this, of course, is because the Audi's got the four-wheel drive. That's exactly why it is. There has to be a panel to the ACO.
Yes, exactly.
If you have four-wheel drive.
Essentially, the Ultra and the e-tron are exactly the same car, except for the e-tron is a hybrid car. But other than that, they are the same. And as you've rightly said, Mark, they've had to impose some sort of restriction because the cars are already flying off in the front. So I think that was obviously a good idea. But for you, all of you at home, thank you, Jeremy, because I know some people are jumping in and out and aren't always understanding everything between it. But that is the noise you hear when we have the onboard footage of the e-tron. And really listen out for that. You can really hear it under braking in those heavy braking zones.
Just to finish off the answer to the question, this technology is not as new as you might imagine, because in 2008 Peugeot showed us their hybrid 908 at Silverstone at that round of the Le Mans series. It never got to race, and it was actually geared up ready to race, a new version of it this year already. It was what they were going to bring here to Le Mans when Peugeot pulled the axe. But again, a different way of delivering the power. That was through batteries.
Yes, and this e-tron technology, of course, was first thought about and came into production in February of 2010. So in just 18 months, they've gone from a concept to an actual race car that they were able to pull together. So that was in 18 months they had it out running and ready to go. So that's very impressive.
It shows about racing, doesn't it? Because they say a road car will take 3 years from its inception to being put on the road.
Yeah,
so
that's very impressive.
Look how quickly you can do things in racing. Same in war, isn't it? Things develop in war.
Yeah, you know, talking about we talked about it's a supercapacitor effectively on the Toyota, where they store the energy and then drive it through the regular powertrain. I was talking to Pascal Vasselon, who's the technical director at Toyota, earlier in the week, and he was telling me that ultimately they want to be able to go to batteries rather than a supercapacitor. But right now the batteries, the technology there isn't quite as advanced enough. They're still very, very heavy to be able to handle the power they need to move it for this sort of
Peugeot had to build its own battery for this and then drop it into a special compartment in the chassis. Well, on that high note, we're going to go for a quick break. We'll be back after these messages. Stay live on Eurosport. We're being told there's a slippery track down at the second chicane, this Nissan chicane, and a lot of people having problems down there, just as they did on both practice and qualifying nights. Many people straight lining those. Now, Liz, interestingly, we had a lot of rubber laid down over the last few days. That all got washed away this morning. We have a green track again.
Yes, that's been one of the really tricky factors here, and I think why some of the cars have gone off and had some trouble, and also why some of the teams have been complaining about their grip levels or saying the car didn't feel quite right. It's probably because the circuit they'd gotten used to, and they were all just starting to say the track's really rubbering up now on Thursday night. I think the dry track they were looking forward to having was not the same track that they had on Thursday night, and that's one of the key factors in this kind of racing, is you've got different weather to deal with, different things going on. I'm sure they would rather have a non-rubbered up dry track though than a very wet and slippery one like we had in the warm-up. I know I would.
So Andre Lotterer then continuing to lead from Alan McNish. They're triple stinting those Audis up front, as is Loic Duval in third place. Nick Lapierre, though, has taken over the number 7 Toyota, driver change there, and so there is for the number 8 Toyota, Sebastian Buemi, coming here from Formula One. He's another Le Mans rookie, and here we are, there's the 16
number 61 car sat primed and ready with Manu Collard behind the wheel. It looks like they've got it back out of the garage.
Yeah, but Stewart's not even been on board it yet, has he?
No, he hasn't. Let's all just keep our fingers crossed that they've found the problem and they can carry on.
Yeah, just remember is the last year's ill-fated ARM1 chassis, and one of the problems they had with the car was engine installation problems and other parts. And
this bad luck with Another car that actually has the same, well, they say the same chassis, is the number 0 car. But in fact, I think the only similarity they can have of that AMR1 is the tub, which is probably the best part. I understand the tub was very sturdy.
Yeah, we understand also there is a third one knocking around somewhere. We don't know where, but
oh, really?
Yeah.
Pit stop for the second place car. Car number 2, Alan McNish. This is a lap earlier, I think, than we had expected. It was last in lap 22, now in on lap 33, whereas the number 1 car, the race leader, did not stop. There is the Corvette that had been leading GTE until its stop on this lap. That hands the lead back to Jimmy Bruni in the Ferrari car number 51.
Just seeing some cars leaving the pit lane there. It still surprises me how early we had pit stops this year. I feel like a lot of the cars pitted very, very early compared to previous years.
Yes, I think actually one of those cars leaving the pits then was the Stracker, wasn't it? 21 car, which of course is completely out of sequence to everyone else. But here we are, very efficient work by the number 2 team. Tyres. We're not seeing a driver change, are we? This is the third stop for the car, or the...
Well, one car that's really impressing me is the number 12 car at the moment. That's the Rebellion Racing car. Nick Heidefeld's still aboard that vehicle. He is running in 6th place at the moment, very competitively indeed, not much off the pace of the others. And just consistently, I think. I hope I don't give the curse of the commentator right now. I'll touch wood. But yeah, definitely pushing along, doing very well indeed. Tom Christensen has just gotten on board the number 2 car, so they've pitted and changed drivers at around about the 2-hour mark. Yep. So they're obviously, they must have done a tyre change as well. I didn't see, but I would expect them to do a driver along with tyres.
Yeah, about 24 seconds was the gap from first to second from Lotterer to McNish before handing over to Tom Christensen. It was fractions of a second a lap mark that McNish wasn't quite, or either wasn't able or was told not to quite match the pace of that car number 1. But the 2 e-tron Quattro Audi R18s still first and second.
We've got reports of a slow-moving car. That's car 83. It is one of the GTE AM cars, the Ferrari of Rodriguez. We're not entirely sure. We haven't seen them on our screens yet, but we will absolutely give you some more information about that as soon as we have it. My guess would be it's got a puncture or something similar.
Just crawling around. Liz, you were surprised, weren't you, during our qualifying nights that there hadn't been more punches this year after last year?
Well, what's interesting is we seem to have had a very tight battle there with the Corvette and the Aston. We seem to have had so many punctures last year, and this year we've got everybody complaining about not being able to get any grip, even from their soft tyres. So perhaps the compounds have gone the other way. We're having a real battle here with Aston Martin and Corvette. They're just swapping about, going absolutely next to each other down the Mulsanne straight, dueling their way down into the brake zone.
Fantastic race that is. There is the class leading, I think that's the 51, no, it's not the 51 car, that hasn't been in yet. That's the number 58.
That's 59.
Yeah, that's
the luxury racing car, that's the 59 car.
59.
But the race leader, by the way, Andre Lotterer just brought his car into the pit lane, but that battle going on there between the Corvette and the Aston, here it is.
You can barely even see the Corvette, they're so close together.
They've been back and forth, back and forth. Right now it's a battle for second and third in the class because Jimmy Bruni still has not pitted in that very fuel-efficient Ferrari. And these two have made their second pit stops of the race.
So that is the battle for second and third place that we're actually watching at the moment. And that's Tommy Milner and Darren Turner. What a good bunch of guys to be dueling it out there. Very experienced. British
V12 against American V8. Isn't that wonderful? Here we are. Here's that lead car pit stop.
And in fact, an American and a Brit in the car together. So what more of a fight could you ask for?
Pass.
Great fun. A tremendous battle.
And so early on. This is what we're going to see for the next 22 hours, I think. I don't think we're going to see the battle ever ever back down. It will be this way until the last man stands.
I think you're right. And the second place car also in LMP2, Tom Kimber-Smith. He's moved up very stealthily in car number 44 for the Starworks Motorsports team. He's brought that car now onto pit lane for a, I would presume, a scheduled pit stop. Also into the pits is Warren Hughes for Murphy Prototypes.
Yeah, he's
just about to see these two flying GTE cars come down in front of us as we watch the number 16 car go past us, not into pit lane, but indeed staying on the track. So we will keep our fingers crossed for them. And they're reaching traffic, the Aston and the Corvette, really bunching up two different classes together.
Tom Kimber-Smith just pitting, as you said that, Jeremy. So that's going back to third place at the moment, behind Ayari. So it's Olivier Pla leading a class from Ayari now. And Tom, in fact, has just tumbled to fourth with that pit stop. And also in is Warren Hughes. So those two continuing the battle they started at the beginning of the race.
Just watching the Audi leaving the pit lane now. Of course, only two mechanics are allowed on the car at one time, so it takes a little bit longer to do tire changes than it used to when I was racing here. We used to have 4, so it's definitely a slower process, but probably requires even more precision. We're going to have an interview in the pits with Alan McNish, and we're going to go there now for you. Alan McNish.
Alan, a really good start of the race.
Yeah, I was able to get into third place straight away and caught up on Loic at the pit stops. He had a problem and came back in. And then after that, it was trying to control the gap to Andre, really. It's very slippery and quite windy. You can feel the wind. And I think with all the rain that we had overnight and this morning, the circuit is quite green. So I think it'll get better as the race goes on.
Are you able to find a really good setup? Because the track is changing every hour. It's really different.
To be honest, the last stint, the car balance didn't feel very good. I'm not really surprised considering that we went onto the tyre we did at the point we did. But yeah, it hopefully will get better.
Thank you very much.
Well, we're back with our good colleague Carlton Kirby. Carlton, you've been having a wander up and down the pits. What's going on out there on this hot sunny afternoon?
Extraordinarily lively, I think you might say. It's all, we've got Ben Holby coming up in just a few moments' time. He developed the Delta Wing. It's possibly running possibly to form, I would have thought, at the moment. They're not pushing it too hard. I think they're playing a long game here. It's been an amazing success PR-wise for Nissan to come here with such an unusual looking machine. A number of you on Twitter as well, as this GT battle rages on our screen. We're just waiting for our Nissan Delta Wing designer to join us. Some of you have been asking a little bit more information about the car. Where have you been? It's been full of the press, and indeed throughout our coverage here on Eurosport, qualifying, practice and the rest of it. It's been a major feature, and it looks like we may well have just lost him momentarily here. You never know when you come to Le Mans just how busy you're going to be honest. None busier at the moment than Pescarolo, and as far as the racing is concerned, none busier than this as well. And it's Corvette versus Aston Martin. We love this. It was supposed to be toe-to-toe stuff, and it's exactly what we've got here right now.
Yeah, we mentioned about the Delta Wing. It has actually had quite a lot of garage time this afternoon, so we'll find out from Ben Bowlby what that problem has been. It's on track at the moment, but
it makes you wonder whether we've got even more problems, because he's disappeared. Waltzed off, I'm afraid, back down pit row here. It's an extraordinarily busy place, side by side. This is what we want, Liz.
Oh, this has been fabulous. We've been enjoying this battle for a few laps now. Every time they come down the Mulsanne straight, they're just so tight. They've got to make sure that they don't touch and cause themselves an accident.
Gonna be a change.
Keep the racing real. But these two drivers are well up to the challenge of a fight all the way to the finish.
Milner takes a spot just for now, but for how much longer? It's take that and back again at you.
DT
Wonderful.
in that car, and he's going to take it to him. I know he is.
Absolutely. A couple of P1s just bedding in there for Audi, and I just had to back out of that into that corner as well. Here's the Zero designer.
Then we can see that the car is stopped for a few minutes now. Can you explain what happened now?
Well, it's one of the components that is actually not part of our innovation. And so it's a little air shift actuator that changes gears in the gearbox. So there are a number of them running here today, and we had bad luck and we had one fail. So we're having to change the component, and we should be back on track. I don't think it's done too much damage to the gearbox itself.
What is important to know also, when we spoke with the driver earlier, they say that it's really, really fun to drive this car.
Well, that's one of the exciting things, and why I'm not sure what will happen after Le Mans, because the drivers enjoyed it so much, and it's a very efficient and lightweight car, so it feels good to drive.
What do you expect for the next few hours?
Well, I hope we get back on track very soon, and I think we're just about to go out again now. And we'll just keep racking up the miles on our Michelin tyres, and I hope we'll do a very long set of stints on the tyres.
Thank you.
Well, that chance is coming in just now, because the Delta Wing has just sailed by, sailing by here and taking the Aston. I can tell you Corvette are having fun out there. So are we, in fact. Milner leads Turner at the top of the GTE Pro class. And you saw the change live right here. We'll be live throughout this 24 hours. We'll take a break. Back in a few moments' time. Welcome back. The 74 car is extraordinarily busy. He's done a job on Aston Martin, but traffic getting in the way at the moment. It's just intermingling between the two leaders of the class. We've got Lotra coming up.
Only quite an easy stint, I would say.
Hey, you know, I'm lucky to have a good car, everything running smooth, and, you know, just find my rhythm, and I'm able to push when I want. I'm careful in the traffic. There's some guys they're really surprising out there, so, but the good thing is find your rhythm and keep going like that. The car is running great, so it's nice.
How did the tires react? Because we saw some damage on it.
Yeah, we did 3 stints. It's a rather soft tire, so it looked a bit nasty when I came in, but it's still really drivable, you know. So we're checking it, and no drama.
Good, thank you very much.
André Lotra then, winner of this race last year, and looking good at the moment. Benoit Trellier on board that #1 car, carrying #1, of course, in honour of that famous win. Tom Christensen in the 2nd place car, having taken it over from Alain Mittenich, and Nick Lapierre and Sébastien Buemi moving up into 3rd and 4th places. As Loic Duval, has he just made a stop, Liz, or have they passed him?
I didn't see him have a stop. We haven't seen it happen if it has.
He's lost 2 places while we had that interview, so and almost fallen back into the clutches of Marco Boninelli.
No, he has had a stop. I can see it says he's had his 4th stop. We just couldn't see it on the screen.
Yes.
So yeah, that makes sense. And then I would expect the others to come in very shortly afterwards.
Carlton, I think we should explain to people, if we are not catching the pit stop, we no longer overlook the pits, as we have done for the last 200 years.
Yeah, we do see the pit entry, which is actually a pleasure to see the cars who are flying by and those who are coming in to stop. But we've got so much other stuff to look at here that if we just happen to miss somebody flashing by, we don't get the longer view, which perhaps you're used to, of also seeing who's coming out of the pits and who's going back in. So a slight downside, but we kind of feel like we're more part of the action here as well, which is also terrific, because one thing we couldn't see was actually the start-finish straight, unless you absolutely craned over and interfered with all the controls. So that was quite difficult, because it was a sheer drop down to where the racing action was. We got the pits, but we couldn't see the cars flying by. We could hear them, of course.
Yeah.
Incidentally, on the escape from the Toyota hybrids out of the pit lane, you know that they go on hybrid power and leave in absolute silence from the pit boxes.
Very odd.
Yes, exactly. And so our friends at Radio Le Mans have been sticking the mics down there, and all we're hearing is a slight movement of the odd bit of gravel and an odd it's spooky stuff. But anyway, yes.
It's sad. I really like this. I mean, I'm still getting over missing the sound of the old R8, really.
Well, there is talk that some of the electric vehicles, if they do go all the way, that cars are going to have to select and patent a sound specific for their vehicle so that it doesn't interfere with pedestrians. Maybe that'll be for racing as well.
Yeah, of course. One of the regulations for the hybrids specifies they must be able to travel
that was tight.
the length of the pit lane under hybrid power. And of course, at Le Mans, that's always been tricky because it's uphill, and it's taken people a while to get used to that. But this is just going on and on, isn't it? Tommy Milner on board that 74 car now.
Yes, just almost getting into the back of the Chanduk, Chanduk, I should say, who's on board the 22 as we speak here. It seemed that they're so busy concerned with their own racing, they almost got into the back of that P1 car. Here's the 16 car. Come on, fellas, let's make it work. It's cooled down, obviously.
Yeah, no, they had it in the pits for a while. They sent it back out. He did about 2 or 3 laps, and I just saw him come back in a minute ago. But it looks like they're just plugging in and hopefully not going to do too much to it. We just hope it'll keep going. We really do.
Is it going to be? Is it their 4th engine they've got?
3rd,
yeah, this is the 4th. Yeah, they took this one
4th.
From the dome, and that's we think they probably had some installation problems.
Well, those engines don't fail, so it may well be that it is something that's actually feeding or cooling the engine that's a problem, and if that's the case, then it's possibly curtains. We'll see. This looks like it's going to be a 24-hour sprint between these two.
It absolutely is going to be, and just seeing exactly like what you said, they're racing each other so intently that despite being professionals, it's hard for them to always keep an eye on their mirrors while they're focusing on each other.
Yeah, one thing is for certain, the light stack that's on board the Audis here is so spectacular. You certainly know they're coming. It's like an avalanche of light heading your way. Absolutely no doubt what's coming. Toyota, their lights look an awful lot more benign. I think the leading P1s certainly should copy Audi's lead there and just light it up, for goodness sake. Well, I was going to say Blackpool Illuminations, but those in the Asia Pacific won't understand a word I'm saying.
And incidentally, it is white lights for the LMP1 cars and LMP2 cars and yellow lights for the GT cars. So there is a way for these GT drivers to know that they are about to be passed rather than just being approached by a fellow competitor. And I know there was a lot of discussion about whether the new Audi lights would be blinding the other drivers, but most of the drivers I've spoken to, and I would agree with this myself, have said that it's great to know that it is an Audi, and I would have said absolutely brilliant.
I love the way
Because quite often we get our teams to tell us when the leaders were coming through.
Now the other thing to tell you all to look out for, especially as it gets darker, is the side lights on these cars. 1, 2, 3 lights in a row in the colours of the classes: red for prototype, LMP1, blue for P2, green for GT Pro, and orange for GTM. And those lights, if there's 1 light on, that's the class leader, 2 lights on, they're second, 3 lights on, they're running in 3rd place. And if there's no lights on at all at that moment, they're out of the podium. So that's just something you can look out for once it gets dark.
It's one of those wonderful things that have come along to help the fans. They also backlight the numbers, incidentally, and that stack of that trio of lights that Mark was talking about sit directly at the side of the number. So you see the number illuminated, you know who it is, and if there's 1 light on next door to the number in that vertical light stack, then you know as well. Look at the Aston Martin here. He's having a look. He's got a proper daft. Is he going to make it count? Come on then, fellas.
Oh, go on, Turner.
Well spotted, Carlton.
I think he's going to do it. He's done it. And Tommy's been very clever there. He's known that he, rightly so, had the pass there and didn't do anything stupid that would detriment either of their 24 hours. This is what's so great in watching some real top professional drivers racing each other, is they can do it and do it cleanly. This is what we want to see for 24 hours.
Yeah, well, we've got one of the prototypes coming up and just announcing the fact that they're here. So it'll be battle suspended just for a moment while the 13 Lotus Badge car goes. Oh, and I thought the Corvette was going to try and get a draft off the P car there. He thought about it and then backed out of it.
It just thought, maybe I'll just capitalize on this traffic coming through. Maybe Darren won't quite notice. I'm just going to sneak up the side, but Darren had it well under control. He's now actually pulling away a bit in places. This is what Darren will be doing now. Say, I've gotten a run on him. I'm going to push as hard as I can.
What have we got, Mark, on the fuel range difference between these two vehicles?
On the fuel range, they've stopped at the same time, more or less, haven't they? They've both done 2 stops in the race so far. They're probably looking for a 3rd quite soon. We are now coming up to 3.5 hours into the race.
I think the first initial stop, the Corvette had an extra lap, but our last one, they were pretty equal. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with this one. If maybe Corvette's going to try and stretch it an extra lap or not take that risk. But they're driving very hard, so I would expect that they wouldn't exactly be conserving any fuel right now.
Yeah, if you've got a couple of laps where you can actually get a tow, though, that helps, and you might actually be able to play that longer fuel game. Let's go downstairs.
Sebastian
Nick Heidfeld, you just stepped out of the car, freshly redressed. How was it the first stint?
That was good fun. It was the first time for me here to do the start stint. In the beginning, when there were some drops, I took it really easy, was a bit careful, and after that it went quite okay. Until I had a spin. Luckily nothing happened. Kept a good lead to the private cars, and it's looking good now with Neil in the car.
How satisfied were you with your lap times?
Sorry?
With your lap times, how satisfied were you?
I'm very satisfied. I mean, we tried to be the best privateer team. I was quite a bit quicker than all the other guys. But it's important to be quick, but the race is 24 hours. Fingers crossed that we keep going to the end.
Thank you.
Petrel taking a spin himself. You've got to ride your luck here, apart from everything else. Don't forget, it's not just about the mechanicals, it's not just about driver quality. You have to have good fortune as well. I think the 51 car possibly got rid of all its bad luck before this 24-hour race finally got underway. Completely rebuilt, of course. We'll take a break and we'll be back with the action live here on Eurosport after this. Welcome back, and a warm welcome to our friends at Eurosport World, Asia Pacific, and throughout the globe. You're live at the Le Mans 24 hours. So this has been raging on lap after lap here. We've got just over 21 hours, 37 minutes to go, and it looks like a sprint race, does it not? It's the leaders of the GT Pro class here, and it has been toe-to-toe throughout. Aston Martin, Corvette, that's what it was supposed to be like. That's exactly what we've got here. It's party time.
Yeah, if you've just tuned in, you probably thought, oh, this isn't Le Mans. We've just tuned into a 20-minute sprint race. No, in fact, you've not jumped into that. This is the 24 hours. We are just barely over 2 hours into this very, very long race, and we have an absolute cracking battle between these two. Oak Racing Car flashing like crazy to make sure Darren Turner's seen him. This is what makes sports car racing so exciting. We have a huge battle between two cars in one class, but the other classes are trying to get around to do their own battle.
Absolutely, and when those quicker cars come through, like that Oak Racing car, he just tries to get into the hole in the air that is being punched by that pink vehicle here, and tries to make up ground, but the Corvette's got the legs, and he does the same thing here, just to try and pull away from the Aston. It's clever stuff.
It just goes to show how difficult it is to actually get around these very torquey, big engine GT cars. The LMP cars actually struggle near the end of the long straights because most of these GTs keep pulling, whereas the LMP2 seems to reach a bit of a plateau.
It's strange, isn't it? Strange to see them closing
I remember
all of a sudden.
it being difficult.
And a very, very brief mistake there, ever so slightly, as Milner just followed the line of the P2 car and got himself slightly out of shape there in the S's. He's got to watch out for that sort of thing. Yeah, elementary mistake perhaps. 21 hours, 36 minutes remaining of this. This could go on forever, Mark.
Yeah, and our first penalty of the day, the number 40 car, the race performance of Ray Kajad, is being given a 30-second stop-go penalty for speeding in the pit lane. We don't know what speed it was, but presumably if it's a 30-second stop and go, it's a bit more than naughty.
Well, that's sort of quite often a standard pit lane infraction if it's well over. But what I think has probably happened there is one of the drivers has forgotten to push the pit limiter button. Now, all these cars will have a pit limiter button that you push, and it keeps them at that set speed of 60 k's per hour. You can see the lights flashing on the car. That normally indicates that it's on.
We're going back again. It's down the Mulsanne straight. Look at this. Has a look down on the inside here. Oh, it's a long old drag race. This. He's got the draft, has he? Is he going to make it spin? Back comes the Corvette, and they're blocking the faster vehicles behind them. They've got their own race to deal with here, and he makes it stick. Now let's check him out on the exit here. Fabulous.
Oh, so tight. We've got the Delta Wing coming up. We've got prototypes, another GT car. We've got every class of racing all together at once, trying to own the road side by side down the Mulsanne straight. It's just crazy. And here's a car we saw ages ago trying to get its way in. With that puncture, that's done a lot of bodywork damage. This is one of the biggest troubles you find with a puncture is once you've got it, you must go slowly, no matter how tempting it is to get back faster, because the faster you go, the more bodywork damage you do.
Yeah, it delaminates and just starts a huge whipping action. And of course, the mesh that holds the tyre together is a very, very strong thing, so it whips the car and does not disintegrate. It's the car that actually takes the hit, not the tyre.
And quite often you'll find that a team that had only a puncture then ended up actually destroying so much of the car that they've spent hours in the garage, which could have been avoided.
And look at Jimmy Bruni just waiting, isn't he, for any chance of those two to make a mistake. If they tangle, he's straight by.
Looks like we're going to go to the pits for an interview in a minute here. While we just continue to watch this frantic battle in GTE Pro. What a great race this will be if we can carry this on.
Yeah, that camera's not going to last, is it, down there on the curves here? We always lose a couple along the way. I think Sebastian presumably Bourdais. Let's have a look.
David Brabham, did you enjoy your stint? It looked like a nice battle you had in the beginning with Seb Bourdais and Bertrand Baguette.
Well, yeah, I wouldn't say it was a massive battle. Yeah, we're all quite similar pace. I probably had a little bit more on them, and it was just a case of getting into a rhythm. We were struggling a little bit with the tyre temperature with the car. So once that started to come in, I started to pull away, and it was just getting into a rhythm into the race, to keep out of trouble, which we did. And JRM car is running fine. There's no issues. We just build up some database. We tried a different set of tyres for Koran, so we'll see what feedback he gets. So that'll help us for the rest of the race.
You said the tire pressure or the tire temperature was a problem all week long here. How's it going with a bit warmer temperatures now?
Well, towards the end of my last stint, I started to pick up a lot more grip. But before that, it was a bit of a struggle. A lot of that is just our lack of knowledge of the car and lack of testing and development. So, but at the moment, I think as the race goes on, it'll come more to us, and the pace will pick up as we go along.
Okay, thank you.
Lack of testing, lack of development, perhaps. It was, of course, Sebastian Tiffer who was doing the interview with Dave Brabham there.
Yeah, I just had some call down from Porsche Curves. Jordan Tresson had a spin at the Porsche Curves in that PlayStation Oreca Nissan, and he survived it.
Oh, that's a really lucky one. But Jordan, of course, taking on his first Le Mans 24 Hours, the second generation of a GT Academy Europe's winner. And I understand, I think he's had a couple of spins in practice, if I recall. I think this has been a pretty big shock to the system for him.
Check this out as a car stack here.
Oh my goodness.
All classes mixed together. It's a Le Mans mince, and let's just hope they keep safe here, because everyone's struggling for position, and this guy's racing here, don't forget. The twin central lights of the Aston Martin blazing away, getting the AMs out of the way. The pros are coming through. Oh, almost Kovac contact
you
here.
can only see at Le Mans.
That was the pros and the AMs mixing it up. You see the performance difference here from this year's car, slightly wider at the back end, but this is magnificent stuff, and it's raging on.
Yeah, Jaime Mello, though, he's got caught behind that, and he's lost some ground now on those two. He's got to get past the two Labra Corvettes ahead of him as well. And is that Danny Watser in the Straka? No, it's not. It's one of the P2 cars, a yellow helmet, isn't it?
Yeah, flashing like crazy, hoping that one of those GT cars is going to see him coming through. It's the worst feeling when you pile into a GT battle and you think, they aren't looking at me at all. Hello, I'm down here, please don't run me over.
Very busy. Right, here's your Toyota. Now just listen to this disappear like a ghost in the night. When it leaves its pit box here, there'll be no sound. We can practically stand here. They go away on electric power, and it just disappears, plain and simple. Finally, he managed to get the breakthrough here. The 48 car found some gap, and he'll be pleased about that, and then he can leave these two to have their own private battle at the end of the garden, if you like. And here we go. They're at it again here. Anyone going to drift this time by? Well, it's the choice of the vet right now. Has a look. Not quite close enough to make it stick. Fabulous.
Look at how strong the pull is on these cars, even behind the Murphy Prototypes car. That's a fast car there, but you can see how the GTE cars with those big grunty engines just keep pulling down the straight. It's amazing.
Yeah, it's under acceleration and braking that the P2s get their own back, but as you say, fairly equal power outputs. Jaime Mello then just working his way through the two Labra cars behind. He wants to catch up with this battle again. It's just broken up for a moment, but be sure this is just going to run and run.
Oh, it is. This is going to go on.
Oh, a bit wide. Darren went off.
Sent it back out.
Darren!
Slewed out. And is he going to get mugged here as well?
Well, he will have lost a lot of power.
Mello goes past him.
Yeah.
He's lost position. Oh dear, oh dear.
He's going to battle back. He's going to hold on for this. All the way down they come. Let's pick it up once again. Down into the dip here.
Jaime's got it.
He's got him.
He's not letting it go.
Oh, he has to.
First to third in one corner. Dear, oh dear. Darren, what were you doing? He fell off his bike the other day, didn't he?
Oh, I don't know. Did he?
Oh, there's plenty of those kind of scratches around as well through the Porsche.
Of course, that's
He's catching him fast, though. Darren is going to be angry now with that. It's very rare we see Darren Turner make a mistake, to be honest. He's one of the best, best Aston Martin drivers I've ever seen. One of the best drivers, full stop. It's very rare for him to make a mistake.
Just break too late for Arnage, didn't he? That was what happened.
Too late. We're going to have to take a break. A real shame to cut away from this. We've got to fit in the ads, though. We'll be back with you in just a few moments' time. Back at just the right time, and Aston about to take that spot back again here. Oh, Ferrari fighting back. They want the position though, and they're going to make it stick. Oh, that was fantastic stuff. We just cannot believe this. Thanks to those of you who've joined us on Twitter, by the way. Some of you just equally as exciting out there. Ben Gray says this should be renamed the Le Mans 24 minutes. A race every 24 minutes, and that seems to be what we've got here. This GT race, absolutely fantastic. And a mistake, similar styling.
That's how Darren's just caught that little bit up again, but of course he himself had thrown it away on the previous lap. Just looking at P2 for a second while watching out, Tom Kimber-Smith has just run a 42.4, which is the fastest P2 time we've had in this race.
And they're up to second place as well.
Yeah, in second place. So he's closing on Olivier Plat now.
Gird your loins as the prototypes come through here, and this battle continues. This is for second place now, and it's kind of let the Corvette off the hook. But Ferrari holding on to this. It's Bruni that's on board the GT Pro class here. Darren Turner is in the Aston, and these faster cars just keep coming through and possibly just offering up a little bit of drag. Right now, too much space between to make any difference, but the lines that they're choosing coming in here, almost identical, slight variations you might say, and it allows a bit of closing here. The Aston seems to be able to get a little bit of advantage on braking, but the Ferrari on the escape just has it.
Yeah, I know, it definitely does. You can really see, and to put in the times that Darren did in qualifying, he was all over the track. He was really pushing hard to put those times in. I think what we're seeing is this car is really operating because of the level of drivers that are in it. It's a good car, but definitely the Ferrari's got the pole, and I question if they're just that little bit more nimble in their design.
Yeah, but remember, the Aston has got a weight break of 25 kilos. It's that much lighter because they're still unproven. He's coming in anyway, so all academic.
Yeah. Now let's watch this. We'll see somebody push all the way. Look at Darren flat out onto the line. Bam on the brakes. That's the way to get into pit lane right there.
Smoke. This Marshall very impressed as well by it.
Yeah, a little bit of a nod. That's a huge acknowledgement from these marshals.
Exactly what we talked about. You can gain or lose so much time in a pit stop here. The pit entry lane is so long. We can't actually see where they come into the lane. So it's very long, and Darren's driven that to perfection. He's gone around the edge of it, floored it up to the line, losing no time at all.
We've got the radar track right in front of us.
Is he getting out or is he staying in? I think he's getting out.
They will be changing tyres. That's why he was able to light them up as he came in. No bother about flat spotting those. He absolutely stood on the anchors. They probably won't change him now and just prove us completely wrong. There was no puff of smoke. He kept it nice and calm. But it underscored what we were saying about the braking capabilities of this car, Mark. Absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, it is. It's superb. And as Liz told us during qualifying, you can make 2 seconds a lap difference by having a very fast in lap and a very fast
or even more. You can easily at Le Mans lose a lot of seconds. You can lose 10 or 15 by ambling into pit lane and not getting on it straight out. And what's the point then of all your team working so hard to do a fast pit stop if you're going to blow it all on the way in? So it's very important to just hammer it right up to the boards like we saw Darren Turner do to perfection.
Well, we didn't know whether that picture-in-picture was them leaving with the same tyres, to be honest. We didn't see any puffs of smoke, but the G-force that he must have had, I imagine his clavicles are absolutely killing him because it was almost like he hit a brick wall there, but came in, they checked the tyres, safe enough, and away he went. Amazing example of exactly how you got to do this. We're on board with the e-tron here. Let's try and pick up a little bit of that sound as they come into braking. Not in a zone just for now. They'll get to one at the end of this, Liz.
Yes, they will. Yeah, they'll be on their way down to the Porsche curves, I believe, coming out of Arnage.
No, you'll have to wait for that.
But again, not a heavy braking zone for them in the Porsche curves.
But it is nonetheless a hybrid zone
where they can collect energy, incidentally, and then add that to their electrical flywheel and use that energy to turn the car into a four-wheel driver. And we've seen...
Look at how fast he is. Whoa, they're so fast in the Porsche curves.
Suddenly it just picks up four-wheel drive, and they're totally flat and quick out of this. We were talking about it in qualifying. It appears that the onboard pictures have actually been speeded up.
Oh no, it's just
there you go. You'll see here. Look at this. This looks like one of these old-time movies where they just make everything
now he
go
releases
quicker.
it. 120 k's, bang.
Away they go. So strong through the Porsche curves, just unbelievable grip.
And remember, the advantage of this car over its sister Ultra car is it's got a lot more weight on the front wheels, so it's got more front wheel grip.
Yeah, that's the only difference between those cars. Remember, they're the same car except for the hybrid technology in one of them.
No, we're enjoying ourselves here, and know by the amount of Twitter traffic that you guys are too, we'll do our best to get through you. Now, don't forget, we've got the Up All nightclub tonight. We're not cutting away from the Le Mans 24 Hours. I'm hearing that there may well be some switches between British and British 2. So, yes, if you do lose pictures, then you will know where to find us. We're staying on here. Johnny Kane coming up, who's been on board the 21 car and going well. I love the fact they've got that dirty, great big Union Jack upon the back. Ben Marshall said, what's the advantage of a flywheel over a capacitor and vice versa, Mark? Well, we know that the capacitor comes in an enormous punch. We described it as something like a flashlight warming up and then going bang. Should we address that after this?
Yeah.
Yes, I think we'll
come back after the interview.
Definitely, and Mark will fill you in.
You just get out of the car. What's the race plan now after you lost so many time with the technical problem, with the gearbox problem?
Well, to be honest, the race plan doesn't change much. We just still have to try and go as fast as possible. Hopefully we'll make up some time, but it seemed like the car was good. I was able to set some very good times for petrol privateer. I think we were pretty much the quickest car out there in that class. So only really the factory car is quicker than us. So it's just a shame that we had a problem. The car's been so good all week. You know, the boys do a fantastic job, and you know, just one of those unfortunate things that you have an oil leak in the gearbox just before the race.
But with what can you hope for now? It's a 24-hour race. You're 5-6 laps down. So how is the mindset now?
Well, to be honest, anything can happen to anybody. You know, we've lost 6 laps at the start, but someone can easily lose 6 laps later on. So we just have to keep our heads down and drive as fast as we can. I'm sure the car will be good from now on, and fingers crossed. Well, I don't want to wish bad luck on other people, but we've had ours, so maybe some other people will have theirs too.
Okay, thank you very much.
Cheers.
Yeah, Carlton, your question just before that interview of Johnny Kane about the difference between hybrid systems. The Audi has a flywheel which runs at 78,000 RPM, so it's more controllable. They can release that at 120 Ks under the regulations, whereas the Toyota one, as you say, is just one burst, like a flashlight bulb going off, bang, and it's all over. So that's the main difference there. But we're going to take a break now. We'll be back in a minute, and with a lot more. Ask us more, we'll give you a lot more answers.
Welcome back, and the 2 car is, as you join us, these are us catching first sight of this as well, is being pushed back into the garage here, Mark.
So yeah, the number 2 car, that's a big blow, isn't it? Tom Christensen's car. This is not scheduled, been wheeled in, and this normally only happens when you need to have more people working on the car than are allowed in the pit lane. Liz?
Yeah, no, of course, because now with the rules are you can only have 2 people working on the car in pit lane at one time. That is why the tyre changes take longer. So the minute there's any sort of problem that they need to have a look at or take the back of the deck off, that's the first thing they'll do is push the cars into the garage. We don't really know any more than you do at home right now, but as soon as we do, we will let you know.
This car is the one that had trouble last year, of course. They'd already had a problem, and then Alan McNish was making up time when they had that massive crash. So this is a big blow for the number 2 car.
Yeah, the 3 car, here it is. Let's see if the transponder lights are working, shall we? It is now in P2. So according to that, it's light stacks which sit just at the side of the illuminated numbers. You won't see that until night time, obviously. But you will see the position stack, and it should have 2 lights showing. It's in second place at the moment. Trullier is in the lead car, the number 1 car at the moment. And yet again, just picking its way through the GTs. It seems that hostilities, for the time being at least, have been settled slightly. There is the lead GT car, the GT Pro car, with Bruni in the Ferrari just behind. The Aston came in for a fuel-only stop not that long ago.
And just while we're watching all of this exciting passing, we've had so many cars, sometimes 3 next to each other on the circuit. We've got a question on Twitter from Wildman, in fact, nice name. What is the passing etiquette with so many fast and slow moving cars? Well, the answer to that is it is the faster cars, it's meant for the faster car to pass safely. It is on their onus to pass the slower cars safely. And that's what they tell us in all of the driver briefings. Although I will say that, you know, with professional drivers, you expect the slower car to recognize that you're there, to use the mirrors, and it makes a big difference. And this year, however, there's been an extra thing added in the drivers' meeting at Le Mans, saying they are encouraging everybody to use indicators this year, and that's the first time that's ever been brought in. And most of the drivers are thinking that's a brilliant idea, and I have to agree with that.
Yeah.
I'm sure that's coming off the back of Mike Rockenfeller's accident last year.
I think so, and previously indicators were actually used as, I don't know, almost a way of displaying anger. It was part of the get out of the way, I'm coming by, I want to overtake you. Now they're saying, look, it's a safety issue, let's all get involved and not get upset if people actually use them. The one car making a smooth enough stop, that's for the time being the only Audi hybrid that's out on the track. Now Audi themselves for the time being are remaining tight-lipped as to what the problem is with the 2 car. Either tight-lipped or they're still investigating what it is and don't want to be speaking to wasp-like journalists who are hanging around just waiting to get a sting story. He's come back out, so clearly not as serious as we thought. I'm sure the good doctor will be having a word with Adelaide before you know it. And are they going to be getting away? They are. Smooth as silk, it looks like, Mark.
Yeah, they'd already refueled the car before it got wheeled in. That's standard practice. Here we go, side by side, going out of the garage now. They give way to the Audi. No point trying to delay him. It's a much faster car, isn't it? But that car now has dropped down to 6th place as it returns from the pits. So Toyota are now 3 and 4 as the race starts to come back to them again. Who's going to have the more trouble? That's what's going to win this race.
Absolutely, it seems that way. Toyota didn't do the silly thing at the beginning of this race. They did not try and take a lap lead. They did not try and do 1 hare and 1 tortoise. That was another strategy that a lot of people speculated about as the 74 Corvette comes in, by the way. Yeah, they speculated about that. As it got a yellow flag at position 96, we're hearing. Gravel, the 75 car is in it. It's stuck in there.
The pro-speed competition car, that is.
Yeah, well, he's not moving at the moment. We'll see if he managed to extricate himself from that. So here we are, you're live at Le Mans. 21 hours or so remaining of our live coverage here. And yes, one of our old friends, Andy Gibson, reminding us, well, you do take commercial breaks, so it's not actually 24 hours. Thanks, Andy. Would you like to respond? He's one of our... he does like to clip our ankles occasionally, does our Andy.
Andy, what about the 10 hours we've already done Wednesday and Thursday night and the 2 hours we did this morning? Come on, give us a break.
That's it, Mark. Get him back. Thanks for all of your comments. It's always good to keep in touch with the naysayers as well as the fans. And we will be throughout the night, don't forget. And when things quieten down a little bit, and we've got flaring headlights and some of the cameras are locked off on some parts of the circuit, then the Up All Nightclub will be here. Chris Parsons and Neville Hay will enjoy their company. Myself, Carlton Kirby will also be on board through the night, and that's when we get really chatty and have and the mood kind of lightens, becomes more jazz club, you might say. By necessity.
Oh, I thought you were going to say jazz hands for a minute there. I was getting a little bit worried.
Yeah, Neville's really warming up for the graveyard shift. He said he's already been out, bought the garlic, bought the wooden stake, and he's got a cross. So that'll do.
Lovely.
There you are. You get the idea.
And there's the Delta Wing.
Yeah, exactly.
Had a lot of you asking, where is the Delta Wing and why haven't we seen more of it? Well, there you go. He's still out on track, still going around.
Yeah, well, they have spent a lot of time in the garage. They had an air shift issue, not a part that they've got. One of the parts, incidentally, that was forced upon them was the wing mirrors. They wanted to use rear-facing cameras. We'll get back to that, Mark. You want to say something?
And look who's popped up, Olivier Canal, motorsport boss of Peugeot the last few years.
Yeah, well, Peugeot racing in blue. I think he just wants to have his photo taken nearby.
Very, very...
having a word with Nissan, you never know.
Incognito.
Partnerships are formed.
It's Toyota, not Peugeot, that's racing.
Beg your pardon, Yes, exactly. Just be careful. No, I got it right. I'm saying he, trying to stand next to the blue car, almost pretend that it's a Peugeot. That's what I was saying.
Do listen, Liz.
Pay attention. There we are, the four lights of the Delta Wing. Yeah, so back out on track. Now, we were just saying that they had their issue with a hydro switch, or was it an air switch, which helped their gear change. It's not one of their own parts. They were something off the shelf that they've had. Only 100 days development or so to get this car here, don't forget. And we were telling you about those wing mirrors. Should we do that in a moment? I think we'll have to.
Doctor, we saw the car number 2 in the garage. What did you do? What was the problem?
Yeah, we had Tom report that the car has a strange feeling on the rear axle, and that somehow the car was not symmetrical anymore. And when we opened the hood, we found a big lump of hard pickup that was between the wishbones in the suspension. We moved it out. We checked all the rest of suspension. Everything is fine now.
Was it a similar problem as with Mike Rockenfeller earlier?
There was no problem at all. There we just checked. At the end, I think it was movement on the tires with Rocky, but here for sure it was somehow blocking the free movement of the suspension, and we never had it before like that.
Okay, thank you very much.
So some debris, tyre debris, I'll be bound, affecting the suspension travel of the vehicle. Just a question of hoiking out the lump and then all back to normal, except that Tom Christensen is down to 5th place, and that's probably not that normal at all. Okay, we'll take a commercial break. We will be checking our Twitter sites. It's Liz Halliday and Carlton Kirby, and we'll be having a chat with you after this. No, it's okay. It's okay. Welcome back. The Morgan Nissan just departed, arrived, as you can see. It's actually Oak Racing. It's another badging issue. Just looked up there to see a car being pushed back. It wasn't the 16, was it?
It was the Dome, yes, it was. It was 17, but it's the Dome. But that's joining the 16, which is back in again, and so it goes on for Henri Pescarolo, Mr. Le Mans, and it's just all gone pear-shaped for him. He's one of 2 Mr. Le Mans, by the way, the other one being Jack Eakes, who I bumped into on the grid before the race.
Did you? I bumped into him as well.
And Vanina is here as well. She's come along to see what's going on. It's a shame she's out of racing. Brought a huge amount of colour into sports car and DTM racing.
And in fact, Dakar racing,
Dakar racing, yes. So in comes the number 3 car. This is latest of the Audis to stop. Wout Duval on board that car. They're not going to change, are they? They're not touching the tyres. They're just refueling driver and car. And again, triple stinting the tyres, Liz.
Yeah, no, I would expect them to, especially with sort of the lesser tyre wear that a lot of these cars have been reporting. Basically, tyre usage is unlimited at Le Mans. You can use as many as you can, but it's just down to time. So what the teams will be hoping for is that they've got tyres they can safely use for as long as possible. 3 stints is sort of a normal safe distance, down to maybe 2. We pretty much never see a car change after 1 unless they have a problem. And in the night time, we can see 4 and sometimes 5 stints with certain cars.
Well, they are now changing the tyres just to confuse us. So you never can quite tell, can you? You never know. There might be a slow puncture involved. Remember the end of last year's race? There was an unscheduled stop by the winning car. What went wrong? It wasn't until after the race we discovered that Benoit Trollier had a rear puncture.
Yeah, I would expect there to be. If they just changed before, I would expect there to be an issue there. Definitely, there will be a reason. Certainly, Audi is the last team that would be changing in every stint.
Yeah, you mentioned about tyres. No, there's no limit on the number of tyres you can have, nor is there on fuel. And every car in this race is given 3,800 litres of fuel for the week. That's the fuel allocation. Another interesting static here: the entry fee for Le Mans, 43,000 euros. That's what you pay.
Wow.
That's what you pay to enter the race. And do you know what the first prize is for winning Le Mans? 40,000 euros.
So they're still making money even on the winner.
Exactly.
So it costs you 3,000 euros to win, but you do get a nice trophy.
Oh, well, that's all right then.
Yeah, exactly. Another little
I
change.
think I'd pay 3,000 euros to win Le Mans. I'm pretty sure.
Another little nice manoeuvre there by the 21 car. Oh, hello, what's gone on?
A lot of smoke and nicely done through the bollards there.
It's a not nice manoeuvre, that.
Oh, no, but nicely managed through. I think that's Simon Dolan on board that car, unless they've swapped over drivers.
All right, I think it's about time we reveal that Mark Cole and myself both independently thought that the 3 car would be the victor this year.
Oh, hasn't changed yet.
Is it coming our way? Who knows?
Hasn't changed yet. Marc Gené is my man. I shook hands of him at the start. And anyone
just coming out of the car, we saw a little debrief with Dr. Ulrich and Ralf Jüttner. What was the topic?
Just talking about my stint, you know, we have been unlucky with the tires. We got a puncture on the rear left just after the pit stop, so we lost a lot of time with that. And after that, we got like a full stint with a poor grip and a traffic, like, you know, when you get the car exactly in the wrong timing, it's kill you like crazy, and guys are fighting each other also in front of you cannot overtake. So it's a lot of time that we lost. But, you know, I didn't want to take risk. It's just the beginning of the race. Everything can happen still. So now we carry on. The car is not too bad. Hopefully we're going to come back a little bit.
So the car is not too bad. How happy are you with your lap times when you don't take the traffic into account?
I mean, the beginning of the stint was perfect. I was following the Andre, you know, with the e-tron, and I think the pace was good. Then I got that puncture, and I got like the huge traffic ever. So the lap time was very, very bad. And now at the end of my last stint, it was getting better. I was still doing 27, 28, so that's okay for the race.
Thank you very much.
Interesting then, with full lap on right. They wouldn't have changed tyres normally then. Did have a
No,
puncture.
surely not. Audi would be the last ones you'd see that would casually change them without a reason.
Just while we were watching that, by the way, the Extreme Limit machine looked like it got a brake fire, but whether that then affected some of the hydraulics, it's always a danger if you pick up something like that, Mark. It can actually be, as well, debris that gets affected. They've gone back into the garage after having it extinguished. They need to check everything just to make sure, frankly, that no electrics have been interfered with as well.
Yeah, I think you're better off to actually just check things out at Le Mans instead of taking the risk of being stranded on the circuit. That is one of the big issues. The circuit's very, very long. To be stuck out there anywhere is a nightmare. So I think we've seen that from a lot of the teams already in the start of this race. They've said, oh, well, we just weren't sure, so we thought we'd just check it out. Because really, you don't want to lose time in the pits, but a few minutes extra in the pits to check and make sure everything's all right is worth the risk.
Particularly for Norma. It is the Norma, and they're probably the least funded team here at Le Mans. Guillaume Roux, he runs the Norma Auto Concept. These cars have come out of the CN series, and in fact, 2 of the 3 drivers, Philippe Thirion and Philippe Heiserbrook, have both been winners in the CN category racing, particularly the VW series that runs throughout Europe. So anyway, on board with the Toyota, let's listen to it for a second.
Yeah, I think we might get a big pickup here. Oh,
we would have done
cut
if we
away.
didn't talk.
Well, no, we weren't on board anymore. A real shame. Yeah, we're just trying to get you up to speed as far as the energy collection system is concerned. It really does sound rather spooky, but yeah, as yet we keep just missing out on those braking zones when that energy is collected. Bina Briggs says, loving your fantastic commentary on Eurosport. Fond memories of Le Mans 24 past years. Liz, I think you're in your 5th year here. Mark, it's about 408, isn't it? Something like that?
It's my 8th year of Le Mans, because I drove
but
the
with us,
first 3. But with you, it's 5.
Exactly.
She's a race driver.
Exactly. Thanks, Bina. And thanks to all the other kind comments, of which there have been plenty.
Yeah, so on board,
we appreciate it.
Still with the Toyota. It might look Japanese, it might sound Japanese, but it's not. It's all, the chassis is German. The team is being run by Oreca, which is based not far from here. Hugh de Schoenack, of course, who gave Mazda that incredible win in 1991. Can he do the same again this weekend? It's going to be a tall order, but at the moment, Toyota is 2 and 3 in the pecking order, and it's had the same number of pit stops as the 2 Audis, the 1 Audi ahead of it, and 1 less than the Audi behind it.
Just seeing the 97 car just do its stuff here. It's got itself a bit of track position out there, and it is just stretching its legs absolutely beautifully. It's 3rd in class at the moment. Those who it was battling with still have to make their next stop as well. And in fact, I'm just seeing if I can find out for you, Darren. Oh, in fact, they have got better range here. And Bruni in the Ferrari, we were hearing that car can go 14 laps, which is a couple of laps further than the Vet and the Aston at the moment. And Liz, what you were saying about fuel economy here, it could be one of the major factors.
I think it really will be, especially from what we saw at the very start of the race. Corvette just going that extra lap longer. Surely they will have noticed that. Doug Feehan as well would have been on top of that, telling everybody they're going to be looking for economy, I think. And it could actually be one of the big factors in those top 3 running cars in the Pro Series.
Car 67, please turn on your headlights is the order. We were talking a little bit earlier on as well about the fact if you get a little fire, then if it affects any of the lights out there, then all of a sudden you're in terrible trouble, because one light out, you're going to have to come back and stop again. So hence the precaution of taking it behind the pit wall, check out all the wires everywhere, and then have a happier time of things. I think it's about time for an update of where they stand class-wise, Mark.
Yeah, let's have a quick look down then. So Benoit Trullier in the lead for Audi, last year's winner in P2. It's Olivier Pla, and Olivier has been in that car since the start of the race.
He's just pitted and come out.
Mathieu Leher leading in LMP2. We just saw Olivier coming in, getting fuel and new rubber. Everything according to plan, it looks.
Yeah, it's just a perfect start for us. We are very proud of Olivier because he's doing a very great job since the beginning of the race. But the hardest part is to come. We have to keep this position until tomorrow at 3 p.m.
You're the next in the car. How does the program look like for you now? It's not a long time to wait until to get in the car.
Yeah, it's not easy to take a car in first position. A lot of pressure, but it will be okay. The car is perfect and the track looks great. There is a bit of sun, so I hope it will be fun.
Yeah, thank you. Have a lot of fun.
Thank you.
So that's Mathieu Leher driving, of course, for the Oak Racing Morgan job team, and that car still leading P2 after Olivier Pla did such a good job. Interestingly enough, it is... well, Olivier's still on board, of course. He hasn't come in yet. Mathieu is going to wait. So that means at the moment, Liz, that they've made 4 pit stops and Mathieu is still on board. He's going for a 5th.
Yeah, I mean, well, I suppose he could be. The rule is that you can only do 4 hours within any 6-hour period in the car. So they'll have to be keeping an eye on that. No doubt there is a team manager keeping a close eye on that. On the other side, in the LMP2 class and in the GTE AM class, they've said that no driver is allowed to drive any less than 4 hours total in the 24 hours. And that rule is in place to make sure that you don't have an amateur driver that does 30 minutes at the end of Le Mans to claim the flag.
Well, that would happen a lot, wouldn't it, if they allowed that? The 17 car, incidentally, has just rolled out. And let me just tell you, just to add to what we were saying about the standings here, Mark will take you through it in a moment, but Bruni has only made 2 stops in the 51 car. They rebuilt that machine. They declared force majeure. The drivers had to qualify in the 71. They've got the range, they've got the talent, and you know what? I think they might just win this one. There's an early declaration with just under 21 hours remaining. They're going so well, and with that kind of range and capability, do not bet against them.
All they've got to do is make sure they don't bend it and don't have any troubles. They keep it steady. Well, they've had so many over the last few months that I think, well, let's hope they're nearly done with that. But yeah, keeping it on the track, nice consistent pit stops, no problems, but with that kind of fuel economy, that could really bring them home.
Well, if you're just joining us here on Eurosport, just a quick wrap of the classes. 1, 2, 3 and P1. Benoit Trullier leading for Audi from Nick Lapierre for Toyota. Sebastian Buemi, a Le Mans Virgin, having his first run here. He's in 3rd place. P2, the best placed car, Olivier Pla, we were just talking about in the Oak Racing Pescarola, badged as a Morgan Judd, and that car is 11th overall, leading P2 from Baz Linders in the sister car. That's a good result. And then the Starworks Honda, all the way from America, in the hands of Scotsman Ryan Dial in 3rd place in that class. Looking at Pro then, it's Jimmy Bruni from Tommy Milner from Darren Turner. So just slight turnaround at the top there, but those 3, Ferrari, Corvette and Aston Martin, showing just how competitive this class is this year. Our good friend Spencer Pumpelly from America leading GT AM at the moment, with Raymond Narak, many times winner of this race, and Gianni Roda for Porsche behind them. So 2 Porsches chasing another Porsche in GTM.
Sebastian Bourdais, we just saw the Dome leaving the pit lane. What was the last problem you had with the Dome?
The list is getting pretty long, but yeah, we had an alternator issue, then we had a drive shaft cone that went off, and then so it's spilled oil everywhere, and now we couldn't restart the car. They looked at everything and they couldn't find anything, so the thing finally restarted, so we haven't found the problem, so I don't know.
But looking back to the beginning of the race, it looked like a nice battle you had there with, I think it was David Brabham and Bertrand Baguette.
Yeah, it's just a shame, you know, the car is really good, and unfortunately, you know, on the engine side, we can't really compete. It's just, the car is pretty fast in the top speed, but the way to get there is just, we lack a lot of torque, I think. So, you know, the guys at Judd are doing the best they can, but it's tough to compete against Honda and, you know, big guys like that.
Okay, thank you very much.
There you go, remaining circumspect. I think he knows the troubles that they're having here. Chris Parsons just handed me a note, says, what odds would you give that Toyota would have been running second and third after 3 hours? It's a very, very good point. And, well, they won't stay that way for much longer because they're coming in for their stops as we speak. On board with the 7, they're clearly ready and waiting for them. These sequences do have to come, be fed through. We'll be coming back to you in just a few moments after this break, where we'll be picking it back up. But we'll hang on and just find out how their pit stops sequence through. Back in a moment.
Welcome back to Eurosport. 20 hours and 50 minutes of the great race still to run, and it's Audi 1, but it's not Audi 2 or 3. That is Toyota, and that's quite a big surprise to everyone. Perhaps Carlton, one of the big problems there is 2 of the Audis have had their own problems, and they've dropped down the field a little bit.
Yes, perhaps more issues than we're being let into secrets-wise here. We'll see. It's one of those things. There are more questions than there are answers at the moment. It's all very well having suspension travel and talking about debris and that kind of thing, but the fact of the matter remains, it was a rear-end issue. With 2 cars, they may well have just done a check on one and declared a problem with another, but it begs the question mark. I mean, you're not going to want to admit to things that you're not really fully up to speed on. Is there a bit of that going on?
Who knows? I mean, there's been rumours on the internet at the moment there might be drive shaft problems, but we've been told the party line by Dr. Wolfgang Ulrich, and I was usually very honest of us. It's something that they've always done. They've told it straight, and we can only go by what he tells us. And look at this. We've had high-speed cameras before, but this is ultra-motion camera. This is even slower, and you can see every little bit of rubber coming off the car. This is DTM stuff, isn't it?
Oh, it's magnificent. It's carried over. I think you gain your ideas where you can from different series. And yes, our very own Andrew Marriott bumped into him. He's been doing a lot of work on DTM these days. I'm almost jealous, frankly. I used to enjoy that series very much indeed with Mark Cole, who's sitting next to me. And look at this, picking your way through. One of the Lotuses here in, Lotus badged cars. It's the 12 car, in fact, which was the quickest of all of the petrol engine cars. So Lotus certainly keeping the flag waving here, but you see the performance difference perhaps. Got his own race to be dealt with, don't forget, and picking his way past the petrol-powered 22 car, but this Ultra wants to get in here.
This is Romain Dumas. Look at the speed he's carrying. That's the first little kink in Indianapolis. Now look at the second one, which you have to take a huge bite off. Don't take too much. Oh, we lost it now, unfortunately. But the number 7 car comes in. This has been running second, Nick Lapierre, and what a good performance by the let's say it's the German, Japanese, French team. Chris Parsons then joining us. He's been out there watching what's going on. I think Chris himself has been mightily impressed by Toyota. Chris, you hinted to us, didn't you, a couple of minutes ago that who would have put money on Toyota running second and third some 3¼ hours into the race?
Absolutely. They seem to have problems in qualifying, and now they're running absolutely regularly. and it's Audi that seem to be picking up the problem. So
having had a trouble-free qualifying.
Absolutely.
Yes.
So this is very interesting indeed. You wouldn't have got any odds on that, I'm sure. There we are. No, very, very exciting. Let's hope it goes on.
But we've had this fighting all through the field. P2 has been incredible. The GT Pro class particularly. I mean, there hasn't been a moment of boredom in this race so far.
No, the GTs, as Liz has been saying, well, everyone's been saying, the Aston, the Corvette and the Ferrari, absolutely terrific.
Yeah, it's been a delight. Couldn't be more different from the conditions we had in the Group C race. Some very expensive repairs to be dealt with.
Anthony Davidson, you told us yesterday in the studio that you are here to learn. It looks like you learn very quickly.
Yeah, well, the team, they're doing a good job, you know. We're a professional team, and when I meant learn about the car. So not learn about how to run the car. We know how to run the car, but just learning, you know, as we go on, things that go wrong with the car, potentially, that we can learn and adapt in the future or change. And no, but so far, so good.
Yeah, you had some trouble in the free practice and the qualifying sessions, but how is the car running today?
Well, you can see it's running pretty well. The drivers haven't complained of any issues as such. Yeah, we had slight electrical problems in the qualifying session. I think it's quali 2 on the day 2 of quali, and obviously the engine failure on day 1. But that was just a very small problem, which turned out, I mean, it sounds more dramatic than it was. We haven't had any engine problems at all in testing or since that engine blow up, and we know exactly why it happened, so forget that one. Yeah, I mean, touch wood, it's going all right at the moment.
Yeah, and I guess you're the next in the car.
Sorry?
You are the next in the car, I guess?
Yeah, next in the car, earplugs at the ready, and Sebastian's going to come in after another 10 laps, and I'll be on my way.
Thank you very much.
Best of luck to him. We certainly hope so. It's been a terrific battle raging on at the top of the GTE Pro, the Gran Turismo Endurance Professionals. And I can tell you that Fisichella, who was the man who binned the 51 car, has actually got on board that machine. It's dropped back down into 3rd place, but its range is absolutely phenomenal. Can't remember when it was that the Aston and the Corvette came in last, but I can tell you this much: they're running pretty much the same fuel strategies. 14 laps they're getting out of the Ferrari out there, and right now it looks like the Ferrari in the hands of Fisichella will vault back into the lead of that class once Turner and indeed Milner make their stops, which won't be that far away. Now, I understand we're going down to the 51 garage in just a few moments' time, and we'll be having a word to find out just exactly what the legs of this machine are like. And indeed, I do hope that Sebastian asked Kimi Bruni just what it's like doing a battle, and indeed being involved in so much traffic, because they're having to hold station, if you like, do their own thing, but be mindful of quicker cars as well, just wrestling and trying to come through. Sebastian is downstairs. Let's join them.
Gianmaria Bruni, 3rd at the moment, but you started from way back, so I guess so far everything runs well with the brand new car you have.
Yeah, it was for me. It was first laps since Wednesday. The car is good. I was on doing a double stint on tires, and we were quicker than everybody else. So at the moment everything is good. Now we changed tires. The other they did it. So next stop we will be again ahead, I hope.
Your guys, your mechanics had to change the whole car, had to rebuild the car on Thursday. Do you still work on the perfect setup, or is that set now for the whole race?
Yeah, they changed everything in the car. Brand new car, like you said before. Chassis, engine, everything. So I hope everything go well.
Okay, but how is the setup feeling, because you didn't have much time to work on that?
Still working, fighting in the car. It's not perfect, but it's the best that we could make it.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
You know what, guys, if they're fighting the setup on the car, and you know, it's all credit to them. you have a massive engineering job such as that. The car was effectively totaled, and they had to get special dispensation to make the rebuild. And Chris Parsons, you were doing Group C earlier on today. We totaled a few of those cars as well in the wet. But this is modern technology. It takes a bit more to bolt it back together, to be honest. But with all the electrics and everything else, and they did it here.
Yep, those guys worked night and day and night to get the car out, and
exactly
they did. And Tony Villander just did a few laps at the end of qualifying, and everyone was very relieved to see the car running again. Really terrific. I think they'd even announced that they weren't going to get out in qualifying, and they confounded everyone by actually going out with half an hour to go. Terrific, really good job.
Great to see them here. It's what it's all about, Mark, picking up pieces and making them work for you. Oh, who's this?
Not the 51 car, please.
Please, not after all of what we've actually been saying about it. Come on, 81.
It's the 81, right? It's still the course car.
Still more work for the mechanics.
And that's Matt Griffin on board. Dear, oh dear, Matt, what are you doing? Liz will be giving you a smack when she sees you for that. She's just been talking you up. And the 81 car then being pulled backwards. They get him on the road. He's a long way off, though, isn't he? And
that's, just when they settle down for a well-earned cup of coffee.
Dunlop, looks like Dunlop again, yeah.
Appears to be slightly off. All of a sudden they may have some front end work to contend with as well. Here we go. Once again, it's Vet versus Aston.
Oh, this is just running and running, isn't it? This is just getting ridiculous now.
This is the lead, and we've been running for 3 hours and 19 minutes or so, and this just hasn't changed. This situation here, and right now he is closing. It's later on the brakes for the Aston. Quick, actually, the Vet and the Aston are extraordinarily similarly matched. You can see that here. As far as the Ferrari is concerned, it's quicker out of the corners, not so hot on the brakes. The Aston, I think, just beats everyone as far as that's concerned. And this ding-dong battle is going to rage on. It may well be into the wee small hours when Mr. Chris Parsons rejoins us.
Yep.
Yes, thank you very much.
Sure it will be.
3 till 5 tomorrow morning. So please come and join us. Neville and I would like to have your company.
Well, we'd like people to stay with us all the time until then, not just come back at 3. But as you were saying, Carlton just said, they're very equally matched, these two, but coming at it from quite different directions. American muscle car, it's a Corvette, and it's it's heavy Detroit V8 under all that, and it's good solid American engineering, whereas Aston Martin is the epitome of all that's good in British car building. A beautiful V12 in the back of that Vantage, whereas in GT3 rather, they tend to use the V8 still. That's what our friend Stuart Hall's racing at the moment in the Blancpain series, but this is the V12, and they're giving it its head, and it's working.
Yeah, it looks absolutely beautiful. It's one of the best sounding vehicles out there. If you happen to be local and you've paid for the Eurosport player, so you're on site and watching us live, why not get yourself a nice little ringtone and record that Aston Martin going by. I've done it. It sounds glorious. I understand that we are going to be switching very, very briefly to I think it'll be picture-in-picture to get a tennis result. So we'll be going to what is a Squeaky Shoe Sport, or is it they're playing outdoors? It's summertime, sorry. And then we'll be back, but hopefully we won't lose pictures. I'm hoping it's going to be picture-in-picture, so at least you can keep tabs on exactly what's happening here. We can live up to our uninterrupted coverage, Monica. Otherwise we are going to be in trouble with lots of you.
Please don't call me Monica, Carlton. I've told you about that before.
Okay, Stephanie, off you go.
So Benoit Trullier then still leading, the #1 car, last year's winner, starting from pole, and they have not lost the lead of this race since it got underway, as Carlton said, some 3.5 hours ago, and it's going to go on this. This is getting towards a difficult time for drivers now. Sun is starting to get low. We don't get sunset officially until 10 o'clock tonight. Sunrise is bang on 6 o'clock tomorrow morning, but that doesn't mean to say it's dark immediately. It takes a while for the gloaming to settle in, and of course sunrise follows dawn. So in effect, you've only got probably about 7 hours of darkness here at Le Mans during this race. Chris, against Daytona, which is more than 12.
Yes, it's half and half.
Well, just to warn you, it sounds like we're going to cut away for 2 minutes to see some tennis. Please don't throw things at the screen. We'll keep an eye on it. And just in case your part of the Eurosport family stays with the motorsport, we're going to carry on. How's about that? So off you'll go, some of you, to watch tennis, and I'm just hoping that you've got a tennis commentator standing by to actually fill you in, because believe me, what I know about tennis can be fitted on the back of a biscuit.
Thank you.
A very small biscuit.
Which you've just eaten.
Yes, you just ate it.
That I've actually just eaten it.
Yes, so you've no longer got the information, Carl. We're not in the right place.
Yes, this will be Rev Dutch's chance now to say, yeah, you could probably fit your motorsport knowledge on the same on the same biscuit. There you go. Yes, our friends on the back page, or enemies, I'm not quite sure.
Benoit Trellet leads Le Mans for Audi. Olivier Pla for the Oak Pescarola Morgan team leads P2. Over in GT Pro, it's Tommy Milner, only his second Le Mans for Corvette. He had 2 for Panos, but the second for the Corvette factory team. He leads Pro, and AM is led at the moment by, it's still Spencer Pompelli, our American friend. So 2 Americans there dominating GT.
Well, I just might add as well, as the 41 car makes its entry into the pits here, the Greaves Motorsport machine, yes, we of course would love to stay here. And if we do have to cut away, then it certainly didn't get our vote. But anyway, here you go. LMP2, there's the battle for 5th going on right now. Oh, it's nice to see the name Brundle next to one of these cars.
Yep, 1990 winner Martin, and many times a Le Mans race. And now his son Alex, who he's mentored and tutored himself, absolutely proud to be with him. And Martin is just thoroughly enjoying being back here. He's just drinking in the atmosphere, Chris, all week, hasn't he?
Yes, he has, and his attitude is absolutely right. He's been on the radio several times, and he seems to be there. His brain's in the right place, but that's what you'd expect of him.
Yeah, and I talked to him about last week's Canadian Grand Prix, which was a thriller towards the end, but he said, do you know, although it was a great race, all I was thinking about the whole time in Montreal was being at Le Mans.
Well,
part of the family.
Here he is, absolutely. Chris Parsons, part of the nighttime family. Don't forget, he and Neville Hay will be going through the wee small hours. I'll be joining them for a good portion of it as well, and hope that you will join us as well.
So there we are, the scene down at Arnage as they come back up the backstretch of the circuit towards the Porsche curves. Long shadows now. If you're in France like we are, 6:30 in the evening, 5:30 of course in the UK, and I don't know what the time in Singapore or Melbourne is at the moment, but we're going to be taking a break in 30 seconds, Carlton. I think probably, from what we've been told, you can maybe find the racing still on the other Eurosport British channel or whichever.
Well, I hope so, because that's how we've been flagging it at the beginning of all of this. But anyway, let's catch up with apparently our friends on the tennis courts at this important time of year. And we'll be back in just a few moments' time. I think we may, as far as our international viewers are concerned, be switching to Eurosport International. I assume that you at British will be staying with us.